Hello, this is Gabby McEwen, The Real Deal. It is a Friday. Amazing to have your company again. Thank you. Now, I'm going to talk about something very briefly because I've got a friend who's waiting to make me a cup of tea and we're going to catch up and I'm going to see what she's done to her lovely property. But before I do that, I just wanted to remind you that if you are purchasing a property, when you go out and you look at a property, you don't have to have a conveyancer or you don't have to have chosen a conveyancer at the time of shopping for a property. My recommendation is that you actually say to the agent, is there a conveyancer that you particularly like using or you can recommend to me? All right. Because sometimes it can make the transaction a lot smoother. Now, typically officers will give you a couple of different conveyancers, and these are ones that are tried and trusted and are good at getting the job done, good at multitasking and work to the time frame. Now, sometimes somebody will do the conveyancing as a favor, all right? The problem when that happens is their heart isn't really in it. They're probably not going to take it as seriously. Worst case scenario is the love job. The cousin or the uncle who's a lawyer who doesn't really do a lot of conveyancing and it's not really on their priority list. And we've actually seen buyers inadvertently lose properties because they have gone past the due dates and you put yourself at risk. The worst thing you can do as a buyer in this market is to put yourself in risk of breach of contract. So follow those deadlines, put them in your phone and make sure that you follow them to the absolute T. Classic example is if it says deposit payable within 48 hours, make sure that that deposit is paid within 48 hours. Failing that, you could run the risk of losing the property because you're in breach of contract, okay? Ditto, pest and building. If you want to ask for a reduction and there's another buyer possibly that missed out that says, hey, I know it's gone, but hey, if anything happens, I'll jump in and I'll even pay $20,000 more, you could risk losing that property, all right? The same with finance. Make sure your finance man has the valuer out very soon after it goes under contract and that you keep in mind the fact that if the property is tenanted, that enough notice is given. Hopefully, these will be very handy and useful tips for you if you're looking at purchasing a property. You may be an amazing buyer, but you don't want to be let down because of your conveyancer or because you're encouraged to ask for extensions or to run into the danger of being in breach of your contract. Have an amazing weekend. But before I go, two things. Number one, if you have a rental property, what are you getting at the moment? And is it in line with what you could be getting? Because we all know the rental properties or the weekly rentals have gone up, or the weekly values, I should say, for rent. It's been a long week, have gone up. And the second thing I want to say is what is the now price of your property you're currently living in or of your investment property? If you want to know the now price, definitely hit me up. I'd love to assist you and give you some relevant data if you currently own a property. All right, you don't have to be wanting to sell, but you might just be curious, particularly if it is a rental or perhaps if you own a rental and you're not quite sure what it's worth in the current market. It's always good to do a regular audit to keep your finances in check. That's all from me, Gabby. Have an amazing weekend.